Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're diving into a truly timeless story, and it deals with something I'm sure pretty much all of us struggle with in our crazy, fast-paced lives. How on earth do we quiet a chaotic, overworked mind? We're going to break down this beautiful narrative from the wordy tales. It offers this fascinating, actually incredibly practical perspective on finding inner peace. And don't worry, it doesn't involve running away to a mountaintop or completely uprooting your life. It's actually just about a really specific shift in focus. Okay, let's jump right in and see what a simple parable can teach us about our own psychology. What if you could quiet the storm in your mind with a simple glass of water? I know, it sounds completely absurd, right? But think about it. We all know that absolute exhaustion of overthinking. You know, tossing and turning at night, replaying awkward conversations from 5 years ago, or obsessing over deadlines that are still weeks away. We usually assume that fixing this mental exhaustion takes some massive, complicated intervention. But the source material we're looking at today presents a strikingly simple, almost weird solution. And to really get how it works, we need to look at the story of a young guy who is exactly where a lot of us find ourselves right now. Section 1, The Storm of Thoughts. So let's meet our protagonist, Marco. He is honestly the perfect representation of the modern anxious mind. Getting his starting point is absolutely crucial for understanding the lesson he's about to learn. He's just 24 years old and he lives in this small village surrounded by absolutely gorgeous mountains. But despite being right in the middle of this natural paradise, his mental state is a relentless storm. He's constantly uneasy, just totally drained from the sheer volume of thoughts racing through his head all day long. He's stuck feeling sad about his past and deeply, deeply worried about his future. Because of this internal storm, he couldn't feel calm, he couldn't sleep well, and our source text notes this particularly heartbreaking detail: he literally forgot how to smile. His physical paradise was completely blocked out by his mental prison. Section 2, Seeking the Wise Man. Realizing he just can't live like this anymore, Marco decides to do something about it. He hears about a wise old man living in a faraway village up in the hills. And get this isn't just any old man. He actually used to be a famous city psychologist who had helped countless people find peace before retiring to a quiet life close to nature. So Marco goes on this really long, exhausting journey to find him. When he finally gets there, he spots the old man sitting quietly on a porch covered with greenery. His eyes are closed and he's just radiating peace. Desperate, Marco goes up to him and says, "Grandfather, my mind is very restless. I cannot stop thinking. I want peace in my heart. Can you help me?" You can almost hear the exhaustion in his voice, you know? He's not asking for money or success. He just wants the noise in his head to stop. Section 3, The Full Glass Challenge. Now, you'd probably expect the old man, a former prominent psychologist, to sit Marco down for an intense, hours-long therapy session, right? Give him some complex lecture on cognitive behavioral techniques. Well, he doesn't. Instead, he slowly opens his eyes, gives this really calm smile, and leads Marco into his yard. He fills a glass with water completely to the brim, literally so full that even a tiny little shake would make it spill. Then, he gives Marco 3 very specific steps. Step 1, take this completely full glass. Step 2, walk from here to the edge of the village and then come back. Step 3, do not spill even 1 drop of water. Marco is totally thrown off. This is definitely not the profound psychological breakthrough he hiked across the hills for. But wanting to do his best, he accepts this seemingly impossible challenge. Section 4, The Secret of Focus. So Marco starts his walk, and this is where the tension of the story really ramps up. He has to walk straight through the village, and the source describes this road as narrow and incredibly chaotic. You've got people walking and running everywhere, shopkeepers loudly yelling out to customers, dogs barking wildly. It is a completely chaotic, noisy environment. Yet Marco walks slowly, super carefully, step by step, keeping his eyes entirely locked onto that glass. Amazingly, he finally makes it back to the old man completely triumphant. He didn't spill a single drop. The old man just nods, smiles at him, and asks, "Did you see the children playing on the side of the road? Did you hear the dogs barking?" "No, I didn't see or hear anything. I was only focusing on the glass." And Marco was genuinely confused by the question. The village was an absolute madhouse, right? Yet Marco was completely blind and deaf to the whole thing. His absolute, unwavering focus on the water in that glass had completely blocked out all the external noise and chaos of the busy village around him. Without even trying to, he had accidentally achieved a state of total mental silence. Section 5, Peace in the Present. Okay, so moving from Marco's story to the actual psychology behind the old man's lesson, what we're really looking at here is the immense power of the present moment.
This is a state where the mind becomes completely quiet by focusing entirely on whatever the current task is, effectively blocking out any sadness about the past, any fear of the future. The old man explains to Marco that this secret to peace was actually something inside him the entire time. He just didn't know how to unlock it. When Marco was intensely staring at that glass of water, making absolutely sure it didn't spill, he wasn't regretting yesterday. He wasn't agonizing over tomorrow. He was 100% locked into the physical reality of right now. And because of that intense, laser-like focus, his mind naturally just went completely quiet.
Let's actually distill this psychological wisdom into a few actionable takeaways. Because when your mind stays strictly in the present moment, three huge things happen. First off, there is absolutely zero space for fear. Think about it. Fear requires you to project yourself into the future. If you are entirely focused on the immediate physical step you're taking, the future basically doesn't exist yet. Second, there's no confusion. Your objective becomes singular and crystal clear, like simply not spilling the water. And third, there are no extra thoughts. Our brains literally have a limited bandwidth. When you allocate 100% of your cognitive resources to the immediate physical present, that storm of overthinking just starves from a lack of attention. The anxiety is literally crowded out. Peace is already inside us when we live in the present moment. And that right there is Marco's ultimate revelation. He suddenly realizes that peace isn't some far-off destination. It's not something you have to find outside of yourself or something you have to hike across mountains to acquire. It's a biological and psychological reality that gets activated simply by staying present. The source text actually paints this really beautiful picture of Marco's transformation here. As the sun starts to set and the last light touches the ground, with birds flying back to their nests, Marco starts his walk back home. But he is no longer that restless, exhausted young man we met at the beginning of the story. He's peaceful inside, because he finally understands exactly how to quiet his own mind. Which brings us to one final question that I want to leave you with today. The next time your mind becomes a storm, how will you find your glass of water? Now, obviously, we aren't saying you need to literally walk around holding a full cup of water every single time you get stressed out. It's really about finding your own point of absolute focus. When those worries about the past and the anxieties about the future start bubbling up and paralyzing you, what immediate present moment task can you pour all of your attention into? It could be the simple physical sensation of washing the dishes, tuning into the exact rhythm of your breathing, or maybe just focusing entirely on the words of the person sitting right across from you. The peace you're looking for isn't hidden away somewhere. It's waiting for you, right here, right now, in the present moment. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and until next time, stay focused and stay peaceful.